Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Good evening, where I'm from. Well, actually, it's just gone 12 midnight. So it's actually 12 in the morning where I am. So, as I said, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to today's live stream. Today, I'm actually, for the first time, I'm broadcasting live on YouTube, which I tend to, Twitch, which is my favorite streaming channel, and Rumble as well. So I was just checking and everything is going on live. So that is fantastic. Thank you for joining me either live or when you're watching it later on, when you watch it later as a recording. Hope your day's been great. Mine's been fine, very busy. So I'm very happy to have relaxed. I've been wanting to get this stream done earlier today, my time, but events just happen, innit? So I'm doing it now. But I said I am going to go online this evening before I go to bed, and here I am. And it's Friday tomorrow, work day for me, but I'm hoping it's going to be a bit quieter. So we're in Exodus chapters 31. So today I'm going to be reading chapters 31 to 33. I just want to recap on what I'd done yesterday, because last Sunday I did do another live stream, just a general Bible study chat, and kind of worked through First Corinthians. We just read chapters 13 and 14. And I just turned to those channels. I said, what I was going to do, the intention of what I did do was that I opened the Bible in the New Testament, as I wanted to read something from the New Testament, opened it up, and funny enough, coincidentally enough, it opened up at 1 Corinthians chapters 13 to 14. So I went through that. I did mention that the Second World War lasted for 4 years. I was wrong. As we all know, the Second World War lasted for 6 years, from 1939 to 1945. I think at the time I was thinking about the First World War, which lasted 4 years, 1914 to 1918. So I just wanted to correct that. I just wanted to use the opportunity today to correct that. So I'm looking forward to reading chapters 31 to 44 of Exodus. And as normal, just going to have a nice relaxed read. And if there's anything that crops up that we might want to comment on this or say something in addition to it, I will. And if you'd like to ask any questions, please do so in chat. And also, if you're watching the recording later, you can still leave a comment. And if there's something there that you want to discuss further, or you need further information on, or if you think I made a mistake, if required, I will respond to that, okay? As and when. So, what we're going to do now, let me just bring up the Bible right there on screen, and let's just start reading. Let's just make our way through. Exodus chapter 31. The Lord said to Moses, "See, I have called by name Bezalel, the son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, and I have filled him with the Spirit of God, with ability and intelligence, with knowledge and all craftsmanship, to devise artistic designs, to work in gold, silver, and bronze, in cutting stones for setting, and in carving wood, to work in every craft. And behold, I have appointed with him Oholiab, the son of Ahimaaz, of the tribe of Dan. And I have given to all able men ability that they may make all that I have commanded you, the tent of meeting and the ark of the testimony, and the mercy seat that is on it, and all furnishings of the tent, the table and the utensils, and the pure lampstand with all its utensils, an altar of incense, and what is good? Okay, let's just see what's going on here. I think it's jumped. That's it. My bad. Clicking too fast. An altar of incense and the altar of burnt offering with all its utensils, and the basin and its stand, and the finely worked garments, the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons for their service as priest, and the anointing oil and fragrant incense of the holy place, according to all that I have commanded you, they shall do. What I find of interest here, and it's something that I did mention in the previous chapters, that the Lord was very specific in how he wanted these things to, according to the design, the quality, and the build. And as he tells us here, he has given this man he's filled him rather with the Spirit of God in order for him and other men as well, but he's specifically filled Bezalel with the Spirit of God with ability and intelligence. So this is very intricate, very specific work. So I'm not too surprised actually from what the Lord has done. So you can imagine really, in order to construct this thing according to the specifications of God, he's filled these people with the Spirit. So and given them the ability and intelligence. So what that tells me is that under normal circumstances, nobody would have been able to have built it according to the specifics that the Lord has given. They may have been able to have done something according to the instructions, but it wouldn't be to the Lord's satisfaction. Okay, so yeah, man is intelligent, but I think, as we can tell, there are limitations, and we don't know everything. Okay, we only know so much. Okay, certain things go deeper. That's why it's important, and I've said this in my shorts, that it's important that we obey the Lord's commandments and that we listen to his word and that we learn from the mistakes of others that are in the Bible story. For example, Samson, King David, King Solomon, and King Saul. Okay? So that we can remain blessed. So that we don't make these fundamental mistakes, because they are fundamental and there are consequences to them. But they're basic things, because if you just follow the basic ideology, which is the Ten Commandments, you know, what else is there to be thinking about? What else is there? Because we've gone through the 10 Commandments and it's very straightforward. From my perspective, they're not difficult things to abide by. You see, one's world, one's life will be better if you do that, because obeying the commandments, and I've said this many times, but it's something that we need to understand, is wisdom. You become wise by obeying them, and you also know the difference between good and evil. So let's just go on a little tangent here. What kind of intelligence did the people who built nuclear weapons have? Yeah, because that's something for what? To destroy. And it doesn't just destroy a small amount. It can destroy cities. It can destroy countries. A bomb created by who? Man. Are men that smart, that intelligent to create something like that? Did they have help? Were they informed? We're told in the Bible what the Lord gave Bezalel and the other men who were involved in the construction of the tabernacle and all the other things that came with the tabernacle. He filled them with the Spirit of God. So what spirit are the people who build these things that are just for destruction? What spirit are they filled up with? You know, where did that knowledge come from? Because I did say when we go back to the book of Enoch, and we're told that when the Watchers came down, they gave man knowledge. Knowledge of what? Nothing good. Okay, but one of the things they taught man to do was how to build armor and weapons. Okay, and what are nuclear bombs? What are fighter jets? These are very intricate things. You have to be on a certain level of knowledge and intelligence in order to construct them. You see, so, I mean, you can make up your own minds, but from my perspective, and this is my show, so I can say what I want, but from my perspective, the intelligence and the knowledge to build such weapons comes from Satan. Okay, because just reading this now, I can see the difference in something for good and something for bad, something to destroy, something to cause harm, pain. Okay, and we've seen what nuclear weapons can do in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And that was in 1945. So you can imagine how man has perfected the art of these weapons. I mean, think about the neutron bomb. What that does is that it doesn't destroy buildings, it doesn't destroy infrastructure, it just kills people. That is a neutron bomb that man created in order to kill other people. So man has perfected the art of murder. Okay? And that's not godly. So, verse 12. And the Lord said to Moses, let me bring this up. And the Lord said to Moses, you are to speak to the people of Israel and say, above all you shall keep my Sabbaths. For this is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I, the Lord, sanctify you. You shall keep the Sabbath because it is holy for you. Everyone who profanes it shall be put to death. Whoever does any work on it, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of solemn rest, holy to the Lord. Whoever does any work on the Sabbath day shall be put to death. Therefore, the people of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, observing the Sabbath throughout their generations as a covenant forever. It is a sign forever between me and the people of Israel, that in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave to Moses when he had finished speaking with him on Mount Sinai, 2 tablets of the testimony. Testimony is the Lord's commandments. Tablets of stone written with the finger of God. So we need to just go back a bit to, I think it's chapter 29. The Lord called the people to Mount Sinai, and gave specific instructions that they shouldn't come too close or they will die. And he told them what his commandments were. And the Hebrews said, we would obey your commandments. So not only did the Lord tell them verbally, just think about this, God was speaking to his people, the Hebrews. Okay, so he told them verbally, and now he's written it, the commandments, his testimony, with his finger on tablets of stone. Okay, because I must admit, when I've gone through the Bible, I kind of missed that point. So it's kind of interesting to me when I'm reading it out to people. It's kind of like I'm taking a lot more in because I'm in a position where I need to know what I'm doing. I need to, because questions can come from anywhere. I need to ensure that I'm saying the right things, and if I'm not, I can be corrected. But I think it's very important that we know those two things that happen. The first time when the Lord told the Hebrews what his 10 commandments were, and Hebrews said we will abide by them. And the second time, just between him and Moses on Mount Sinai, the Lord wrote his testimony, his commandments, with his finger on tablets of stone. Okay, so that just goes how important the commandments are. Very, very important. It signifies your closeness to the Lord. It signifies your wisdom and your wanting to obtain wisdom so that you would have understanding in order to know the difference between good and evil. So we also spoke about the Sabbath day. I did say that I started adhering to the Sabbath day towards the end of last year, and I'm really enjoying that day, having that day just to rest myself. So I have discussed it, so I hope you are also benefiting from the significance of having a day of rest. It can be any day in the week. You know, we have priorities and things that we do, etc. But if you can find a day where you can rest, you know, and you will reap the benefits of having a Sabbath day. Right, we're on Exodus now, we're on Exodus. Well, let's move into chapter 32. Right, when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain, the people gathered themselves together to Aaron and said to him, "Up, make us gods who shall go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him." So Aaron said to them, take off the rings of gold that are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me. So all the people took off the rings of gold that were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. And he received the gold from their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool and made a golden calf. And they said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt." When Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made a proclamation and said, "Tomorrow shall be a feast to the Lord." And they rose up early the next day and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings, and the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. I wonder why Aaron did that. I think I've read somewhere that he was afraid of the people, so he submitted himself to their whims and built a golden calf. But That's disappointing to say the least. And from what I can say, the impatience of the Hebrews, because God had spoken to them on numerous occasions. They've seen the miracles and the signs and the wonders that the Lord had done to bring them out of Egypt. More so the recent one when he opened up the Red Sea and gave them a dry path of land for them to walk through. And when the Egyptians came to do that, to follow them and take them back into captivity, they all drowned. They've seen this. The Lord has spoken to them directly. So why would they be impatient and want to build or go and harass Aaron because Moses is taking his time speaking to the Lord on their behalf on Mount Sinai and want to build an idol? When one of the commandments is that the Lord said, I'm a jealous God. You should not worship any other gods. And another commandment where it says, don't worship idols, don't bow down to them. Don't do that. And this is exactly what they're doing. It's anyway, let's read on and see the consequences. And the Lord said to Moses, go down, for your people whom you brought out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way that I commanded them. They have also made for themselves a golden calf and have worshipped it and sacrificed to it and said, these are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. And the Lord said to Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people, who therefore let me alone, that my wrath may burn hot against them, and I may consume them, in order that I may make a great nation of you. But Moses implored. So I'm assuming there that the Lord was going to destroy the Hebrews and leave Moses and then make a great nation out of his descendants. Verse 11, but Moses implored the Lord his God and said, O Lord, why does your wrath burn hot against your people, whom you have brought out of the land of Egypt? With great power and with might and with a mighty hand. Why should the Egyptians say with evil intent, did he bring them out to kill them in the mountains and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from your burning anger and relent from this disaster against your people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, your servants to whom you swore by yourself and said to them, I will multiply your offsprings as the stars of heaven. And all this land that I have promised, I will give to your offspring, and they shall inherit it forever. And the Lord relented from the disaster that he had spoken of bringing on his people. Then Moses turned and went down from the mountain with the 2 tablets of the testimony in his hands that were written on both sides, on the front and on the back. They were written. The tablets were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God engraved on the tablets. When Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said to Moses, there is a noise of war in the camp, but he said, it is not the sound of shouting for victory or the sound of the cry of defeat, but the sound of singing and here. So basically, the Hebrews were having a party, celebrating their idol. And I wonder what would have been going on in that party, being that they're worshipping an idol. Basically, they're worshipping the devil. How would those parties, they'd be dancing, they'd be jumping up around, they'd be singing, would they be drinking alcohol? Would they be under the influence of drugs? Because you are worshipping an idol, aren't you? You are worshipping Satan, basically. You won't be doing godly things now, would you? Because when we're in the mode of the situation where we're praying to the Lord, where the instructions that the Lord gave to Moses about how people need to conduct themselves when they're in the tabernacle, how they should dress, how they should behave. And you also remember the instructions from Apostle Paul about the church, how women should dress and behave when they're in the church, when they're praying, how they should cover their heads, how the men should take off their caps, how, one needs to be dignified and present a godly behavior when you're in the presence of God in the church praying. And the instructions in the Bible on how we need to go about our daily lives. Okay, so you can imagine when you're now dancing and celebrating to a golden calf, what kind of behavior will be taking place at that time. Okay, because I did say that the Hebrews had been in Egypt for 400 years, and there were like 600,000 men, so you double that for the women, you probably double that or treble that for the kids. So there's, over 1 million of them on this journey to the promised land. Okay, and when you've been part of a nation for 400 years, that's a lot of generations, of course you'll be influenced by their culture and by their traditions, even though you have your own. But they're slaves, they were slaves. So you'll be influenced by their gods, by their culture, and by, the way they behave. But obviously the Hebrews would have retained things like their language, circumcision, and other, things like that. But, you'll be influenced. So the Lord is taking them away from that. Saying, listen, no, you're my people. This is how you need to conduct yourselves. And they've gone back to worshipping. They wanted a calf to be built so that they could worship it. So let's see what happens. And as soon as it came near the camp, verse 19, and saw the calf and the dancing, Moses' anger burned hot, and he threw the tablets out of his hands and broke them at the foot of the mountain. He took the calf that they had made and burned it with fire and ground it to powder and scattered it in the water and made the people of Israel drink it. And Moses said to Aaron, What did this people do to you that you have brought such a great sin upon them? And Aaron said, Let not the anger of my Lord burn hot. You know the people that they are set on evil. For they said to me, Make us gods who shall go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him. So I said to them, let any who have gold take it off. So they gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire, and out came this calf. And when Moses saw that the people had broken loose, for Aaron had let them break loose to the derision of their enemies, then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, who is on the Lord's side, come to me? And all the sons of Levi gathered around him. And he said to them, thus says the Lord God of Israel, put your sword on your side, each of you, and go to and fro from gate to gate throughout the camp, and each of you kill his brother and his companion and his neighbor. And the sons of Levi did according to the word of Moses. And that day about 3,000 men of the people fell. And Moses said, today you have been ordained for the service of the Lord, each one at the cost of his son and of his brother, so that he might bestow a blessing upon this day. The next day Moses said to the people, you have sinned a great sin, and now I will go up to the Lord. Perhaps I can make atonement for your sin. So Moses returned to the Lord and said, alas, this people have sinned a great sin. They have made for themselves gods. Let me just go back a bit. Did those sons of Levi kill? Just see verse 7. I just want to read verse 27 again. And he said to them, let's go back to 26. Then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, who is on the Lord's side? Come to me. And all the sons of Levi gathered around him. And he said to them, thus says the Lord God of Israel, put your sword on your side, each of you, and go to and fro from gate to gate throughout the camp, and each of you kill his brother and his companion and his neighbor. Okay. And the sons of Levi did according to the word of Moses, and that day about 3,000 men of the people fell. Right. Right, we're on verse 30 now. Let's just go to 29. And Moses said, today you have been ordained for the service of the Lord, each one at the cost of his son and of his brother, yes, so that he might bestow a blessing upon you this day. The next day Moses said to the people, you have sinned a great sin, and now I will go up to the Lord. Perhaps I can make atonement for your sin. So Moses returned to the Lord and said, alas, this people has sinned a great sin. They have made for themselves gods of gold. But now if you will forgive their sin, but if not, blot me out of your book that you have written. Verse 33. But the Lord said to Moses, whoever has sinned against me, I will blot out of my book. But now go, lead the people to the place about which I have spoken to you. Behold, my angel shall go before you. Nevertheless, in the day when I will visit their sin upon them. I just had to read again what Moses said to the Lord. And he basically said, so Moses returned to the Lord and said, alas, this people has sinned a great sin. They have made for themselves gods of gold. But now, if you will forgive their sin, but if not, blot me out of your book that you have written. So he was saying to the Lord, if you don't forgive these people, I'm ready to die. So he wasn't thinking about himself, because the Lord did offer him to, look, I'll make a kingdom of people from your ancestors, but he interceded on behalf of his people and said, "No, Lord, forgive them. These are the reasons why you forgive them." And the Lord listened to him. Wow. That's why I said we need to learn from the mistakes that people have made. The Bible is there for us to read and to understand and to kind of think and contemplate about it as well, so we can also learn from the mistakes of others, because there's so much today going on in our world. I might think, oh my gosh, 2026, my lifetime, so many things have changed, but how do we know what was going on in their times? What their experiences, what they were seeing, how they were living, the things that were important to them. So every generation, every civilization thinks, oh man, this is the biggest, this is the most, it's not going to get any worse or better than this. Well, we need to live our life in the present. We need to, because the Bible is always relevant. That's why it's such a great book. No matter what generation you are of or what time you're in, if you've had access to the Bible, you can relate to it in present day. Right, let's see where we are here. Verse 35. Then the Lord sent a plague on the people because they made a calf, the one that Aaron made. Chapter 33. The Lord said to Moses, "Depart, go up from here, you and the people who you have brought up out of the land of Egypt, to the land of which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, to your offspring I will give it. I will send an angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanites, the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Go up to the land flowing with milk and honey, but I will not go up among you, lest I consume you on the way, for you are a stiff-necked people." When the people heard this disastrous word, they mourned, and no one put on his ornaments, for the Lord had said to Moses, "Say to the people of Israel, you are a stiff-necked people. If for a single moment I should go up among you, I will consume you. So now take off your ornaments, that I may know what to do with you." Therefore the people of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments from Mount Horeb onwards. The tent of the meeting. Sorry, I don't like reading those subheadings. I was just thinking, what were ornaments? I think, what's how long we've been at? 40 minutes? Why don't we just refer to Strong's here? It's just nice to know what the ornaments were. So ornaments, that would be OH. I'm just hoping the same word was used in the St. James's and in the ESV versions of the Bible, but I'll soon find out. Ornaments. Here we go. Can you see that here? Ornaments. Just get my pencil out. Yes, you can. Ornaments. So we want Exodus chapter 33. Here we go. Exodus 33, 6. So that's 5716. Hebrews. Okay, let's go to 5716 of Hebrews. See there, Hebrew. No, there you go. Oh. Anyway, Hebrews 5716. Here it is, 5716. The Hebrew pronunciation is Adi. In the sense of trappings, finery, generally an outfit, specifically a headstall, mouth, ornament. So I think that's their jewelry and other things to jazz up their presentation physically. So yeah, I've had a feeling that's what it was. I think it's always nice to check these things and just to know specifically what they meant, because we're told earlier when they built the idol, the golden calf, that the men, women and children all had earrings because that's where all the gold came from. So, everybody likes to look good for every generation, don't they? And gold is one of the things that we all like to have on us when we want to look, nice. So things go along civilizations, don't they? Gold is gold. And I think, people are being told now, because of the times that we're in, these strange and odd times, that, hey, forget about buying a house, forget about fiat currency, buy gold. And the price of gold has just shot up. So, gold is still an important item, very important item. Verse 7. Now Moses used to take the tent and pitch it outside the camp, far off from the camp, and he called it the tent of meeting. And everyone who sought the Lord would go out to the tent of meeting, which was outside the camp. Whenever Moses went out to the tent, all the people would rise up, and each would stand at his tent door and watch Moses until he had gone into the tent. When Moses entered the tent, the pillar of cloud would descend and stand at the entrance of the tent, and the Lord would speak with Moses. And when all the people saw the pillar of the cloud standing at the entrance of the tent, all the people would rise up and worship, each at his tent door. Thus the Lord used to speak to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. Face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. So Moses saw God. He saw him in the tent. The Lord was present. Thus the Lord used to speak to, verse 11, speak to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. When Moses turned again into the camp, his assistant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, would not depart from the tent. Moses said to the Lord, see, Moses said to the Lord, see, you say to me, bring up this people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. Yet you have said, I know you by name, and you have also found favor in my sight. Now therefore, if I have found favor in your sight, please, I do apologize if there was an issue with the sound there. I could hear a lot of crackling. I hope that hasn't gone through into the previous things. That was my fault. Well, I apologize if you've been hearing that, unfortunately, for the last few minutes. But it should be clear now. This is the second time that's happened. I think I need to change that cable. Right, I'm going to start from verse 12 again. Moses said to the Lord, "See, you may say to me, bring up this people. You say to me, bring up this people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. Yet you have said, I know you by name, and you have also found favor in my sight. Now therefore, if I have found favor in your sight, please show me now your ways, that I may know you in order to find favor in your sight. Consider too that this nation is your people." And he said, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." And he said to him, "If your presence will not go with me, do not bring us up from here. For how shall it be known that I have found favor in your sight, I and your people? It is not in your going with us, so that we are distinct, I and your people, from every other people on the face of the earth." Sorry. Is it not in your going with us, so that we are distinct, I and your people, from every other people on the face of the earth? And the Lord said to Moses, "This very thing that you have spoken I will do, for you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name." Moses said, "Please show me your glory." And he said, "I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim before you my name, the Lord. And I'll be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy." But he said, "You cannot see my face, for man shall not see me and live." And the Lord said, "Behold, there is a place by me where you shall stand on the rock. And while my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft of the rock, and I will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen." So, well, what can I say there? That was very interesting. So the Lord listened to Moses and showed him his glory, covered his face, and let Moses see his back, because if he saw his face, he wouldn't live. So that's my understanding of that. So I suppose in the previous part, when it said Moses was speaking face to face like a friend, I'm assuming that the Lord was in the room with him. He couldn't see him, but he knew that he was speaking to the Lord in the room. He felt the presence of the Lord through the cloud. And when Moses said, "Look, Lord, I really would like to see your glory," and the Lord said, "Well, you can't see my face, but this is the procedure that we're going to follow." I'll read it again, and if I haven't interpreted that correctly, then we can have another conversation. Right. Just checking if there are any chats there. No, it's all a bit quiet. Oh, I forgot to welcome my viewers. Some viewers there. I do apologize. I just got carried away with today's discussion. I was really that's just for the people that are viewing this live. I see you on Twitch. Thank you so much for being and joining me for today's presentation, today's Bible study, actually. I'd like to wish you, those present today and those who watch this later, a blessed day. And thank you for listening to the stream. I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Take care now and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.